other 3 hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
After show time. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
Jim's here. Michelle's here. The gang's all here.
Yay.
Yeah. Hey, guys.
Hey, man.
So, we had a whole bunch of interesting calls today.
Yeah, all over the map.
All over the place.
Yeah, we were. We just, it's kind of like, okay, just hit the button. I don't know where we're going. We're going to take a call. Holy cow.
A little bit of political motivation coming up here, huh?
Yeah, I got that. And I kind of went on a little bit of my rant, but that's okay.
You're allowed. It's your show.
Okay, I guess. Nobody's the boss of me. I did like the guy who says, hey, you said the Winchester 1200 was a POS. Well, I guess I did. Sorry. And look, if you like the Winchester Model 12, almost everything kind of suffers. That's a machine.
Yeah.
POS, is that paste on sticker?
It's
Something
point
like
of
that?
sale.
Point of sale, yeah. It's a point of sale gun.
I always find it interesting when I see these ads for a POS system for a store. I'm going, really?
Not very good marketing, guys.
I don't think I'd have gone that way, guys. It's just I'm saying.
We actually have a radio station here in town, WPOS.
No.
I'm not kidding.
Do you really?
Well, I mean, we did as of 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah,
That's
down the road.
hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, I used to swipe the bumper stickers and put them on my buddy's car.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just to
Oh, my gosh.
give him a
Hey, look, we ought to talk to John. He's sitting there going, hey, I'm over here waving, and hey, I'm about over here
Hi, John.
from Virginia. Hey, John, how are you, man?
Oh, good. I just wanted to wish a young lady there her diamond anniversary coming up on the show. And make sure you tell the tech to plug it in 3 times and wiggle it. And
So he was listening in
get
on
that
all the
white
behind-the-scenes
Jeep.
stuff, and I love it.
Yeah, let's get that white Jeep washed, all right?
You know all the secret stuff, man. You were on hold listening. That's cool. So now you know that just shows you what we talk about doing the after show is exactly the same kind of goofy stuff we talk about when we're not doing the show.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's what that switch does.
You're not allowed to run the board anymore.
So anyway, Tom, I just recently purchased my first suppressor after a 20-month waiting period.
Whoa.
Man.
Yeah, and
Wow.
the bad part is I went through my check for my FFL as well as a DCJS bondsman check in the meantime. So they don't have all their screws together there.
No.
But so I ripped off my 1022 and started trying to mount my suppressor, and I've got some stripped screws
Ooh,
in my 1022 receiver.
really?
Yeah,
Now,
1 out of 3.
Is the receiver stripped or the screws?
You mean you're talking about the scope mounting screws?
Yeah, the scope. Yeah, it's the receiver that's stripped.
Oh.
Well, there's another way to go here. Obviously, you can always rethread them. Mm-hmm. You could also, a gunsmith could drill those out and put in larger screws. I've had that done on a dangerous game rifle where the standard screws we thought were a little bit skinny for big recoil, and actually drilled it
I
out
was
and
hoping there was a self-tapping solution, but
There probably is. You could probably self-tap that. Everybody has tap.
yeah.
Yeah. The biggest concern about that, of course, is whether or not you're actually getting it through there straight.
And since the
Yeah.
hole's already
Angle.
there,
Angle.
you should be able to dress those threads okay, I would think. But you
Being
also have
new
to
to
understand
the
that my wife
I'm
won't let me
sorry.
change a light bulb. So listening to me about gunsmithing is a dangerous thing to do.
Gotcha. Well, being new to the suppressor world, I was looking at my 5.7 by 2.8 and wondered whether it was worth chasing down ammo for that or not to mount my suppressor
You mean
on.
like trying to find subsonic ammo for it?
Yeah, I mean, I found some, but I don't know whether it's going to carry enough velocity to still be effective or not. Once you get a 5.7 2.8 down 1,000 FPS.
Right. And I'm just looking. I'm looking online and trying to find subsonic 5.7 by 28 ammo.
I found it at Detroit.
Yeah, you're right. It's not going to have a lot of energy, but at the same time, I would probably use that for range time and for fun stuff. And then if you actually wanted to have that pistol for, is this a pistol or a rifle you got?
No, that's my first AR build.
Oh, you built an AR for that? Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Years ago.
I would probably use the subsonic at the range. Although, you know what? In a rifle, I'm just thinking out loud now. I'm kind of working this problem. You're probably going to have enough velocity for it to be an effective self-defense round if you're talking about using this as your home gun. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, or hunting for small game.
Small game, yeah. Certainly not a deer round in any stretch.
No, I wouldn't even do that with the
not even with the full velocity ones. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I also had the question about the 17 Mach 2, but I think I pretty much answered that one with the internet search. That would be a waste of time. Better to get an air rifle.
Actually, some of the air rifles,
no doubt,
are amazing now.
Yeah, and one more quick question, Tom. I've never heard a range report on the PSA you had to build.
It's because it's still in the closet. It hasn't been built yet. We were going to do it yesterday. Actually, I was going to do it with my buddy Dan yesterday, and he says we could do that, or we could load the back of the truck up with machine guns and go shoot them. So you know what we did yesterday.
Yeah. Tough call.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, you really don't have to rub it in, okay?
Yeah, so anyway, that PSA kit is still sitting there. I poked around, I do have a Timney trigger ready to go in my kit, and
Nice.
It's like I'm thinking, okay, do I have everything I need? I don't know. I guess you start putting it together, and then you find out if you have everything. The problem is I'm brand new at this, so I don't know actually what I need. Fortunately, my buddy Dan, who I was with yesterday, has built a zillion ARs. He's a high-power, Camp Perry type guy, and he's trained a whole bunch of junior shooters. He really knows his way around. Yeah. So if I don't have it, he'll probably say, yeah, I got one of those. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Well,
but,
I'll give you a tip on my first AR build. You start late at night, and you start with a 6-pack.
What could go wrong, right?
Yeah, there's no chance of you going shooting that time of night, so it's all good.
That's true. You're not going to be going shooting, and you need the depressant because you're going to find things you don't have or that don't work, or the spring goes boing and it's across. Now you're on your hands and knees with a flashlight in your mouth, holding it in your teeth, trying to find this tiny spring.
You would have been anyway after a 6-pack.
He knows you.
I drink a 6-pack once, but it usually takes me a week.
So there it is.
It's always great when your family calls in, Tom.
Well, look, while you're at it, would you get Michelle that diamond plate that she's looking for that 10-year anniversary?
I didn't hear you for all the laughter. But thank you guys.
That's probably a good thing. All right, take care. Thank you for the call. Oh, well, sometimes we hit the wrong button and people do listen in, but you know what? It really is true. People would say, well, I wonder what goes on in the background. The same thing that goes on in the foreground.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. We're just as distracted. We're all over the place.
No, Michelle was saying that I think it's been about 10 years that you've been doing the show, the whole Gun Talk show.
That's right.
And Jim, you said it's been like 5 years for After Show now. Mm-hmm. I think it's time to shut this puppy down.
Yeah, I can't believe they let us go this long.
Shh. They haven't all caught on. Although I would like to say a big hello to somebody, and her name is Debbie, and she is such a huge after show listener that she begs for her husband to let her listen to that part before the rest of the show.
No. She starts with the after show?
Yes.
That's like eating dessert first.
She has become an avid gun person and an avid listener, and I just want to give a big shout out to Debbie because she admires what we do and the fun that we have. So
how do you know Debbie?
Her husband called in earlier today and was on the live show, and he said, my wife loves to listen to you and the conversation of the after show. So thank you for the after show because she's gotten more involved in things because of it. So a big hello to Debbie.
No doubt.
Well, that is great. Mm-hmm. Let's find her and hunt her down. I mean let's. That didn't come out right.
Right?
It's got to be a better way to phrase it.
I'm sure, just like my 10-year anniversary.
I just wanted to say, Debbie, we're coming for you. I'm just saying.
No.
No. But we could take her out to the range if we knew where she was.
Yeah.
We'll go shooting.
Yes.
Road trip.
All right, here's the deal. Everybody take everybody else out to the range.
There you go.
Right? Okay.
Cool.
There you go.
Do we have to go now because it's kind of cold and snowing up here?
Oh, whine. If it ain't raining, we're not training. So let's get out there and do it, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, well, when I was shooting the machine guns yesterday, I'm in my shirt sleeves out here. I think it's 80 right now, 82, something like that. But then when I go back up to Idaho, to the cabin there, it's like 6. And we have,
2 feet of snow,
and I'm
yeah.
not kidding, 4 feet of snow.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had to have a guy go get the snow off the roof this week because it was stacking up. He said, yeah, there were a couple of places where you had 8 feet of snow
Wow.
on the roof.
Holy cow.
It's time to get it off, I think. So, yeah.
Gosh, who do you send up the ladder for that?
Somebody a lot younger than I am, I can tell you that. There's a reason that we live this long, because we're smart enough to not do stuff like that. God.
I would just wait till summer and do it.
All right, so
Yeah.
true story. They didn't know, I don't know if you guys know, the Blink cameras, you get audio on those as well. Mm-hmm. So we get the motion alert, click it on, and we're watching these guys standing around trying to figure out how are we going to get this blankety blank snow off. It was hilarious. I probably ran the batteries down on the cameras just watching the whole process. It was like,
yeah, it's great.
Oh, so you're one of those people too.
they started walking across the yard and sunk in like to the armpits. But holy beep! It's like our own little private comedy routine going on.
There's a little Blink commercial for you.
It was great.
So 2 guys are in my yard swearing at each other. I turn in my Blink camera.
Well, and it's one of those deals that this is our local contractor who's done some work for us. You know how it can be hard to get contractors to come do work at your house, that kind of thing. No, the only problem here is, all we want to do is talk about, have you caught any fish? Did you get your elk? This is the guy that I mentioned on the air about 6 weeks ago. He's the one who went and shot the mountain lion that was running around our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our guy.
Oh, cool.
So, work gets interfered with as we swap pictures of critters, basically. It's a good thing.
They charge you by the hour, though, right?
Well, who knows?
Took us 26 hours to clean your roof off, Gresham, but
That's okay. As long as I get some fish out of it, we're okay. It's all going to work out. Right now, they're fishing through the ice.
trout?
Actually, yeah, they catch trout, but they would really rather have, it was a big fish called a yellow perch.
Oh, yeah.
And they're delicious. Okay, this is going to sound like I'm making it up. On that lake, they throw back 20-inch rainbows as trash fish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they said, I don't want that. I want that perch. They're a lot better tasting.
Wow.
Are you guys kidding me?
Well, the perch are good, but man,
Yeah, they are.
trout's pretty darn good too.
Yeah, it is. I'm just not that particular, I guess. Like I say, just start with a 6-pack, right? That's everything. It's
Fixes everything, yep.
we figured. I don't think I want to start my first AR build with a 6-pack, though.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
Because then we would never finish the build. I'd be going night-night.
It's an AR-13.
Of course,
I was drinking.
Of course, if you haven't started already.
Well, you don't think I ever did this show sober, do you? Come on, give me a break.
Oh, yes, you do.
Every time.
Well, it starts off that way, but, that's why we end up with the after show the way it is.
Right. Yeah, right.
Who was that guy? Oh, Foster Brooks.
Oh, he was great. Didn't
Was he hilarious? Did the
Didn't he
fake,
not
drunk
drink?
beer? No, he didn't drink at all, I don't think.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
He was the best comedic drunk who, and didn't drink, which is, as opposed to, I think Dean Martin probably did.
Yeah, something tells me Dean drank.
Just saying, I actually don't know how we've ended up at this place. I think we should take a break.
That's a great
Gather
call.
ourselves and try it again.
Brownells has gone retro, Check out Brownell's new line of retro AR-15 and AR-style 308 rifles at brownells.com/retro. Whether you're looking for Eugene Stoner's original 308 design, the famous M16A1, Air Force 601, or the XM177 carbine, Brownells has the classic, new production, old-school rifle of your dreams. Own the firearm you used in basic training, carried in service, or that Grandpa always talks about. See more at brownells.com/retro.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
With you here. So, interesting question. The 223 short mag to the 25 WSSM. Now we're getting into the geeky stuff. That was fun. I like that stuff, man. That was cool. Well, the one of the rifles we got to shoot yesterday was the SGT. It's the actual original German Sturmgewehr, which is the original assault rifle.
It sounds almost Swedish.
You remind me of a Muppet.
You're thinking of a Swedish chef on the Muppets.
Yeah. Sven and Olaf.
God.
Tom and Don.
All right, so what happens when Ocasio-Cortez eats ice cream too fast? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No, I'm sorry. I just had to.
Can't have a brain freeze if you don't have. Yeah, right.
There it is. That's the deal right there. Oh my gosh.
God, I wish alcohol was the reason we could blame it for being idiots, but
oh no, we are naturally idiots.
Innate.
We need no help whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So, Michelle, I'm pushing the 327 for you out there.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Well, I would have suggested such a thing, but I figured you probably could control such situations.
Well, and it's interesting. You notice that when I mentioned it, it's kind of like he didn't want to admit that he had never even heard of it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people have not heard of that cartridge.
How long has it been around? 10 years? 12 years? It hasn't been around that long, really.
Well, originally, right, and then they quit producing firearms, and then a couple years ago brought back again.
And then it kind of came back.
The Michelle Cleland model came out.
That's right. But, I don't think is probably, I don't know, maybe it is, but I don't think it's one of those firearms that are in every showcase across the country.
I'm sure there are a lot of stores that don't have a single gun chambered for that cartridge.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I happen to love it. We have one on our range, actually, because we believe so strongly. Oh, yeah, we have had. Yeah.
LCR?
Mm-hmm. In the 327. Yep.
That's nice.
I believe so strongly that it's the perfect firearm. I mean, being able to put 32s and 32 H&R mag and 327s through it, my goodness.
And when you put the 32s in it, it's just so pleasant to shoot.
And by 32s, we're not referring to ACPs. We're talking about Smith &
Well,
Wesson.
you can put them in there. They just won't go off because they slide around all in the cylinder there somewhere.
I just thought I should clarify.
You might want to mention that, yeah. I keep putting these things in. They keep falling out.
She says they work.
On the upside, you got a hell of a maraca.
Oh my gosh.
A little castanet to just rattle your revolver around.
You're really jerking that trigger.
I've actually seen revolvers that would rattle like that when you shook them, too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A little sloppy there, huh?
A little sloppy there. So they used to say the 1911s, you wanted them to rattle when you shook them. That way you know that they would actually work.
When the when the 9mm, and the short barrels first came out, when you open them and how the barrel changes the angulation, everybody's like, "What's wrong with that?" Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
No, it's supposed to be like that.
It's the way it's designed to function.
Well, because the 9s don't have any velocity, so you want it to shoot high and then kind of arc down.
That's right. It's a trajectory adjustment system.
Right.
It's a TAS.
It is weird, though. The first time you saw it, didn't you go, well, that's kind of weird?
Yeah. Well, and then you're like, inevitably, they want to take a hold of the barrel and like move it around. Like, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
No,
you just
leave it alone.
You aim down slightly right before you jerk the trigger.
Well, yeah.
You just aim down a little.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Evens out.
Absolutely.
So a friend of mine puts a picture on Facebook. He's at, I don't know where he's gun show or someplace. He got this cool revolver and he's showing it off for the camera for Facebook. He's holding this revolver in one hand, and in his other hand, he's got the muzzle. His finger is over the muzzle while it's holding it up. And I'm going, dude, come on. Rule number 1, rule number 2, It's like, just don't. I can't tell you how many times I've had to stop people while we were actually shooting video. People around the gun, not shooters, but people in the gun biz who would pick up a gun and do that. Because they're used to making demonstrations or presentations even
with a blue gun, you don't do that.
There are people, that'll surprise you, who are in the gun business who are not all that gunny.
Right. And you would think the first thing that you learn is not to brandish anything and not to, well, whatever. It's training and education.
We occasionally run into somebody who works at a gun company for whom guns are widgets. That's just a product. It's the thing. And, you want to say, okay, come with me. We're going to go to the range for a while. We're going to have a discussion. But we just kind of calmly say, no, we're going to reshoot that without you pointing the gun at parts of you.
Yeah. I've had guys at counter guys at gun stores hand me a gun, and I check to see if it's unloaded. Oh, it's unloaded, sir. I'm like, I'm going to verify that.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad. And I agree. It's almost as though they're offended.
Yeah.
That you would check the gun.
You think I would hand you a loaded gun? Yeah. I'm going to assume you did.
It's happened. I'm going to work on that assumption, and that's going to keep us both healthy here. How's that?
Nice to be wrong.
As opposed to somebody saying, I appreciate that. Nice job checking that. If I check it and hand it to you, you need to check it too.
Yipper.
It's one of those, don't you find it's one of those areas where you form an opinion about, when you're really into this whole gun safety ritual thing that we do, you actually form an opinion about somebody based on the way they handle a gun?
You don't think there's any consideration involved to them or you.
No, and you try to resist the urge or tamp down the urge to say, "Hey, dumbass!"
Blink. I'm going to change that from bleep to blink for you.
And my bleep cameras. That's great.
That's true. That's going to work out, but we'll see.
After the after show, Michelle and I are going to go out and test my ballistic vest. She's got a rifle, and
stop it.
What could go wrong?
Could you imagine?
What an idiot!
What's going to go wrong is the fact that I'm not going to do it.
I'm not even going to be close
on
to
either end.
Now, that's one of those you think, okay, there's probably a pretty decent chance there was alcohol involved.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, we talked about earlier, there was a report. 3 guys at the range, they've got a ballistic vest, bulletproof vest with plates in it, like, the real deal. They're shooting at the range, and one guy says, hey, I'll put that on. You shoot it. Gets his buddy to shoot it. Sure as heck, 223 goes right through it, punches him.
Gosh,
I just... He's going, okay, what line of thinking gets you to the point where you think this is a good idea? What could go right and what could go wrong, and are the two similar? That the risk-reward ratio is worthwhile.
If you really want to know, put a watermelon in your vest and set it up and step back and shoot holes through your vest. And shoot your buddy. What an idiot.
And just think of all the lives that have been ruined. The guy who's dead, that whole extended family, and the guy who pulled the trigger, who's now been charged with manslaughter, and his whole family. And it would be hard to imagine he doesn't get convicted of that or pleaded out to something.
Right. At least negligent something, no?
At the very least, it's negligence. It's not an accident. I mean, people say, well, it's an accident. No. If you point a gun at somebody and you pull the trigger, even if you thought it was unloaded, that's not an accident.
Makes my stomach roll.
I know.
It's got to be alcohol because, there's nobody, I don't know anybody that's stupid, and I know some.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Okay.
Well, and they probably think, well, we tested it, we shot it, with it before we put it on, made sure. Yeah. And by shooting it, you may have weakened it. What can I tell you? I don't know.
Or missed a plate.
Exactly. I was going to say hit in between. Yep.
Yeah, very possible.
It's really,
it's just disturbing.
It is.
And there's no best 2 out of 3 in that scenario.
Negative.
Yeah.
So I shot the .45 Colt lever action.
Ooh.
Man, that was fun. Little kind of light, all lead bullets, which, by the way, I think I mentioned on the show last week, maybe. If you're going to get a Marlin and you want to shoot lead bullets, see if you can find one that does not have the micro groove barrel rifling, because that's real shallow and it's not so good with lead. So just kind of a thing. But it was fun, man. And it's funny because I picked it up and I said, okay. And it's got this big, and Michelle, you'll know, a buckhorn rear sight, where you're going, okay, where in this football field of opening do I put the front sight, right? I mean, because it could
wide
be
open.
it is huge, huge. And the guy says, I think you take a fine bead with that one. And that means put that post down really low in the opening. Did that first shot, bing, got the steel, said, okay, that's where it is. And after that, it was easy.
Off to the races, huh?
Yeah, but you do with each gun. There was one, he said, I think that one is shooting high and right, one of the machine guns. And I said, okay. So we ended up figuring out you need about an 8 o'clock hold about 4 inches off your point of impact. So, you just got to figure it out. It's so much more fun to do that than actually just to go ahead and adjust the sights.
Oh, sure. Especially in a self-defense situation. Hey, could you move a little high and...
I'm going to shoot a sighter here just to hold still.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was an old joke, Cock comes in and goes, nice group.
Oh, God. We're all going to burn in hell,
We had police officers all over the place, and I swear I think there was one of the bays where we were. If those guys weren't SEALs or something along those lines, I would be surprised. You never know who's going to be at a range.
Did they have bleep cameras set up?
I did have a moment there. It was interesting. And this is kind of one of those safety deals. It wouldn't have been a deal where we were because a lot of people around. But if you're out shooting in a range kind of by yourself, or particularly if you're out in the woods, and my buddy and I had gone down, we both shot our pistols, and we're walking back, and both of us are completely unloaded. I said, this is not smart.
Right.
You don't ever want to not have a loaded gun on you at a range when you're at an isolated place like that, because there have been a lot of cases where people have gone and killed the people who were doing the shooting and stole their guns.
Chris Kyle.
Well, there's
didn't
Chris
get
Kyle.
stolen, but
but Chris Kyle, of course. I think Platt and Maddox, who did the FBI shoot, I think they may have done that. Killed a guy at the range to get some guns.
Yeah, I've actually unloaded my carry pistol and then walking back on. What happens if something happened right now?
Exactly.
I'm screwed.
That's my point. Yes, exactly. And people go, well, that's just paranoid. Well, it's just kind of looking at possibilities. And, and we're sitting there, we got 7 machine guns on the table. You think somebody wouldn't come and want those?
Yeah, right.
So, but it's fun. I love it when you've got a buddy who's a machine gun dealer and historian. He's always got these cool things. You never have them for long because he goes through them and swaps them, and as people do. But you get to play with some cool stuff now and then.
Must be nice, Gresham.
Tough life.
And you guys know how it is. You ask him, say, well, tell me about that. And he starts telling you, okay, well, it was originally made by such and such. It said, and it was designed by, and everybody, he says, well, everybody talks about how Kalashnikov designed the AK. He says, but actually, Smizer was captured by the Russians, the German gun designer, and he was being held by the Russians, and there's a very good chance that Smizer was part of the design team of the AK that came out originally in 1947. Holy cow, this is all so cool.
And AK stands for? Will feed anything.
Pour sand in, it keeps working. Right? Yeah, really. And Michelle. Where's Kalashnikov's first name? Was it Mikhail? Mikhail Kalashnikov. Little guy. I'm talking 5'2", little guy. And I remember one time he and Bill Ruger were together. And Bill Ruger was probably 6'3", and a big hulking guy. It was hilarious. These two world-famous gun designers, and it's like, I don't know. It was just a weird image.
Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, kind of a deal there, except it was short and tall, whatever. So that's what I've been shooting and trying different guns. I did decide that I am going to go solidly back to the 9, though. The 45 is just a little bit slower to get back on target when I'm shooting it.
So you're going to go with the 1911 9 of some sort?
Yes, and others.
You say that in a singular sense, Michelle. What were you thinking?
Well, I love it. I love the 1911.
Well, because you had alluded to that a couple weeks ago about possibly going back to the 1911 9.
I am thinking of that. And Ruger has the lightweight commander in 9mm. And, and the traditional thinking, and it probably actually is correct, is that the aluminum frame lightweight commanders are guns you carry, but you don't shoot them a lot, because if you were going to If you said, I'm going to go put 20, 30, 40,000 rounds through these, this is not a gun for that.
Right, not
Probably,
the right frame. Right.
Not the right frame. Probably won't hold up. Not a knock on the gun. It's just not what it's made to do. I think the thing to do is get you a steel frame commander for if you're going to go like do a gun sight class, do 1,000, 1,500 rounds or something, and then carry your lightweight commander.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, see?
Now you're
A
thinking.
reason to get 2 guns.
It's funny because you were mentioning earlier, about the SR9C, and that's what I was carrying this week.
Yeah?
For no other reason than I haven't carried it in a while. I said, you know what? I really like it. For my hand, it's just a great fitting gun.
Isn't that a nice pistol?
I haven't carried it in 8 months, a year maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm going, wow, why?
And they have good triggers.
Yeah, it's a
They
nice
really
gun.
do. That's a nice pistol. And it's you just never hear anybody talking about them.
It's a sleeper.
Yep, that one. And I tell you, if you get a chance to actually shoot one of those Ruger American pistols, it is startling how little recoil you feel with those.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that cam design more. I want to figure out how, because, I'm a geek.
Yep.
I need to know why.
Because Gresham said so.
Well, that's why he's going to look into it. But he wants to know how it works, and Gresham cannot help him there.
Oh, it's mechanical. Never mind.
Never mind.
You wouldn't understand.
It's you know what that is? That's magic. That's what it is.
I'm going to go research.
All righty. Well, go check that out. And Michelle, I don't know if you guys ever get a Ruger American in, but if you get one in, and that would be one to put on the range. 'Cause
Right.
People would
Yep.
love shooting that.
I believe we still have one on the range.
Oh, well, I tell you what, you could give us a range report.
There you go. Isn't that basically what the XD Mod 2 was supposed to do also? I guess that sits more over the wrist, doesn't it? Lower in the hand over the wrist.
It has a very low bore axis, but it does not have this cam
Right.
thing. And the cam
It's
thing,
not the reduced recoil type.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, it really is one of those sensations you're going, ooh, wow.
Now, does that have any bearing like a spring does? In other words, does that come into play as far as if you change springs and all the geometry and stuff you think would come into play there?
You're being
I
a
know
geek right
No,
now.
I'm just saying. Can you
Really, I know you're saying something, but I'm hearing Charlie Brown's teacher.
I mean, can you shoot lighter loads in that and still have it cycle? Is I guess what I'm getting at.
Sure, you just pull
Yeah.
the trigger harder.
Nice.
Don't load 2 of them at once like you would go next. Don't do that.
Yeah, just double charge everything. That'll work. But I use 2 light charges. It's okay, right?
Good
And
God.
today's episode of Trying to Get a Straight Answer, we talked to Tom and Michelle about.
Nothing.
Broadcast to you on Futility Radio.
I would like to throw out there to all of the supporters of any of the shooters of the U.S. Long Range Championship a big thank you, including one of the shooting members being my son, Ben.
Yes.
And would like to throw out there that U.S. came home with a bronze medal.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
And Ben was there?
Yep, he was there. One of the 16 shooters that take place in the 800, 900, and 1,000-yard event over a series of days of shooting.
Cool. This was in Mexico?
Nope, it was in Trentham, New Zealand, which is known for its wind on the range.
That's even farther away than Mexico.
Yeah,
I
yep.
think.
So nice and hot, crazy wind.
Oh, that's true, because it's winter here.
But it's a dry wind.
It's a dry wind. Wow.
Right.
But so congratulations to all the members of that team, both men and women, of course.
That's some good shooting.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Cool.
So thanks
Well,
to everybody.
Pass along our congrats to Ben for us.
Will do. Thanks.
Very cool. Nice to have a shooter in the family.
One of us that knows something.
At least one of you knows something. Jeez. Yeah,
I'm sure by now he knows more than we do because
I
we've
wonder
probably
where he got
forgotten
that.
something.
Yeah, no. I think he probably came to that honestly. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right. Yeah. Well, very proud of his successes. It's it definitely pays tribute to everything that he grew up doing,
As you should be.
and,
That's
and
terrific.
coaches of family and whatnot. So yeah.
I thought you were going to say they won a silver and they brought it home and had it bronze.
Well, no, it was a evidently.
That would be unclear on the concept.
They were in close takeout for a second, but ultimately got home with the bronze, which is still exciting. So
Heck yeah.
congrats to all
Yeah,
of them.
That's great. Good deal. And I love the report we had on all the kids, 1,000 kids at the shotgun event. Wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah. in Texas, the junior rodeo shootout or something.
Those little irresponsible brats. Young people shouldn't be trusted with firearms. This is crazy.
You're right. Yeah.
I've been at these big shoots, and you see these little kids with their big shotguns walking around, and everybody's absolutely safe, and everybody's having a good time, and everybody's polite, and it's just one of those wonderful things you go. And after a while, Michelle, you've done this for so long, you're so multi-generational in competitive shooting, you take it for granted that that's just how it's going to be.
You mean how safe things are and what goes on?
Just the nature of the kids and how they are at these things. You just go, well, that's just how competitive shooters are.
That's how we all are. That's right. Yeah. That's what makes the family component to all of this.
Yeah.
Raised them right.
It's just like, you've been doing it for so long, it's like, well, yeah. But to other people, you say, no, seriously, go to one of these events where they have a lot of youth shooters. You will be so impressed.
I can't say that I would take it for granted, though, because knowing those behaviors, I love to educate people and tell them, like, you wouldn't believe the discipline and mannerisms of the kids that are out there, because it really is a showcase of athletic ability, but respect. Ultimately, respect for each other and for the firearms.
And they're still kids, if you know. I mean, they're responsible when it comes to firearms, but they're still goofy, silly kids. They're not like they're grown up too quick or anything.
They're not holding a gun.
I was just going to say, as soon as that firearm is down, that's right.
Right.
Yes. Right. They turn back into regular kids when they pick up the gun, and we're not making it up. They change into a different person.
Right. It's like, put down, they're done with the match. Okay, can I have $1 for ice cream? Absolutely, go.
It's true. And they pick up the gun, they become young adults.
That's
they
right.
Really do.
That's right.
Get a job.
Really interesting to watch. Well, part of it is the old deal of they're being trusted.
Yep.
You give them responsibility, and then you trust them with it, and they accept it because this is important. I mean, up to this point in my life, no one's really trusted me like this, and I'm not going to screw this up.
Right, and you have to prove yourself in order to remain in the ability to use it. You have to show me that you're responsible.
And it's not just right out of the blocks. Oh, here you have a gun. Go have fun.
No.
I mean, it's a growth process.
Right.
Sure, they have to get to that point, and also they know that this is a no tolerance area. Safety is, you're going to have someone speak to you once. If it happens a second time, you're off the line.
It's like, let's be mostly safe. You're not going to ever hear that.
Right. No, it's a conversation that starts very young. Very young. You can't start safety information too soon.
In utero?
Yes, actually.
I talk to my daughter in utero all the time.
That's right, All right, rule number 1. Oh, gosh. Okay, we're done.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes.
Some are saying we've been done for a long time.
Is that our cue? Yeah. Almost 5 years, man. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's cool. 5 years for After Show, 10 years for Michelle.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's at least 10.
And Gun Talk Radio itself, next month, in like 2 weeks or so, enters its 25th year.
Wow.
We'll be completing 24. Unbelievable.
Oh, so see, it is a diamond anniversary. I mean, there's silver, there's diamonds, there's all kinds of stuff coming.
25 years of still trying to get that host hunt going on.
Yeah, that's
still
right.
haven't found anybody, but
I'm just filling in here.
You've been subbing. You've been doing a hell of a job, Tom.
For those of you that might tell me that 10 years isn't a diamond anniversary, yes, it is. Every anniversary. That's right.
We met 2 weeks ago.
It's a diamond.
Because I say so.
Okay, I'm going to go learn about cams.
Okay.
We'll learn about gun cams.
Okay, Gun Geek. Let us know.
I will.
You could have just left it at geek.
There's that. Have a good week, guys.
Let's see you, Tom.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk After Show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gundealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk After Show.